The appearance of Virgin Mary to one of the most beloved saints in history, St. Anthony of Padua, changed everything in his life and made him what he is known for as saint today. A moment so sacred, so powerful, that it would transform not just one man, but millions of hearts across centuries. The story you're about to hear involves mysteries that scholars still debate today, miracles that defy explanation, and a love so pure it transcends time itself. If you've ever wondered about the hidden encounters between heaven and earth, if you've ever questioned whether the saints truly walked among divine presence, then what you're about to discover will leave you speechless. But here's what most people don't know about this sacred encounter. Hit that like button right away if you're ready to uncover one of Christianity's most cherished secrets, and don't forget to subscribe because we're diving deep into the mysteries that shaped our faith. Ring that notification bell too. You won't want to miss what's coming next. In the rolling hills of 13th century Italy, a young friar knelt in his modest cell as dawn broke over the horizon. Anthony of Padua, known to his brothers as a man of remarkable learning and gentle spirit, had no idea that this ordinary morning would become extraordinary in ways that human words struggle to capture. But wait, you need to understand something crucial about Anthony's state of mind during this period. He was wrestling with doubts that would surprise you. This man, who would later become one of the Church's most revered saints, was questioning his very calling. The weight of his mission pressed heavily upon his shoulders, and he found himself wondering if he was truly worthy of the path God had set before him. Can you relate to that feeling? That moment when you question whether you're on the right path? Leave a comment below about a time when you felt uncertain about your direction. Your story might encourage someone else watching this today. The monastery walls seemed thicker that morning, as if the world outside had grown distant and dreamlike. Anthony had spent the night in fervent prayer, seeking clarity about a particular struggle he faced in his preaching ministry. He had been trying to reach the hearts of people who seemed hardened against the gospel message, and nothing he said appeared to break through their resistance. What happened next challenges everything we think we know about the natural order. As Anthony lifted his eyes from prayer, the very air in his cell began to shimmer with an otherworldly light. This wasn't the gentle glow of sunrise filtering through his window. This was something entirely different, something that seemed to emanate from another realm altogether. The temperature in the room shifted, not becoming cold or hot, but somehow perfect, as if the climate of paradise itself had descended into that simple stone chamber. And then, in a moment that would be etched into his soul forever, she appeared. Our Lady, the Blessed Virgin Mary, manifested before Anthony with a presence so magnificent, yet so gentle that he could barely comprehend what he was witnessing. Her beauty transcended anything earthly, yet her expression held the tender compassion of every loving mother who ever comforted a troubled child. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Mary wasn't alone. In her arms, she carried the Christ child, and what Anthony saw in that divine infant's eyes would change his understanding of ministry forever. The child looked directly at Anthony, not with the innocent gaze of a human baby, but with eyes that held the wisdom of eternity itself. The Virgin Mother spoke, and her voice carried the music of heaven itself. She addressed Anthony's deepest concerns, his fears about reaching stubborn hearts, his worries about his own worthiness. But what she told him wasn't what he expected to hear. Did you know that this apparition would lead to one of the most powerful intercessory traditions in the Catholic Church? Keep watching, because what Mary revealed to Anthony about lost things, both material and spiritual, will astound you. "My dear Anthony," Mary said, her words flowing like liquid mercy, "you doubt your ability to touch hearts because you forget where true power comes from. The child I carry in my arms chose you not because of your eloquence, but because of your willingness to be his voice." The Christ child then extended his tiny hand toward Anthony, and something miraculous occurred. Knowledge flooded Anthony's mind, not mere facts or theological concepts, but divine understanding of how to speak directly to human souls. He suddenly comprehended how each person's heart could be reached, how every barrier could be overcome with the right approach rooted in genuine love. This moment would later inspire Anthony's incredible gift for finding lost objects, but more importantly, it would give him the supernatural ability to find lost souls and guide them back to God. The connection between these two aspects of his ministry is something that will surprise you. Mary continued speaking, revealing to Anthony secrets about prayer, about intercession, and about the special role he would play in bringing people closer to her son. She explained how his future preaching would be different, not because of clever words, but because of the divine love that would flow through him. But then something happened that historians rarely discuss. The vision began to fade, but not before the Christ child made a gesture that would become Anthony's signature miracle. The infant reached toward Anthony's prayer book, and every page began to glow with celestial light. This wasn't just symbolic. From that moment forward, Anthony's understanding of Scripture became so profound that even the most learned theologians would seek his insight. Anthony fell to his knees, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what he had witnessed. When he finally raised his head, the apparition had vanished, but the room still held traces of that heavenly fragrance that would linger for days. More importantly, Anthony felt completely transformed from within. I want you to take a moment here and consider this. How would such an encounter change your life? What would you do differently if you had absolute certainty about your purpose? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one and love hearing your perspectives. The effects of this divine visitation became apparent immediately. When Anthony next stood to preach, his words carried a power that astonished everyone who heard him. People who had rejected the gospel for years found themselves moved to tears and conversion. His reputation as a miracle worker began to spread throughout the region. But here's what's truly remarkable about this story and why it matters to you today. Anthony's experience teaches us that divine encounters aren't always dramatic or public. Sometimes, heaven visits us in the quiet moments of our doubt and uncertainty. Mary's appearance to Anthony wasn't witnessed by crowds or recorded by scribes. It happened in the silence of personal prayer, in the vulnerability of honest seeking. This aspect of the apparition reveals something crucial about how God works in our lives. The most transformative moments often occur when we're alone with our questions, when we're honest about our limitations, when we stop pretending we have all the answers. What you're about to learn next will completely change how you view St. Anthony's intercession. Following the apparition, Anthony developed his famous devotion to helping people find lost items. But according to mystical tradition, this wasn't just about material objects. Mary had revealed to him the spiritual principle that nothing is ever truly lost in God's providence. Everything can be restored, every soul can be found, every broken situation can be healed. This is why millions of Catholics turn to St. Anthony when something precious goes missing. They're not just asking for help finding keys or documents, they're invoking the power of that sacred moment when Mary showed Anthony how divine love recovers what seems irretrievably lost. Think about it. What have you lost that you'd like to find again? Maybe it's not a physical object. Maybe it's hope, faith, a relationship, a sense of purpose. Anthony's intercession, rooted in his encounter with Mary, extends to all these deeper losses. If this resonates with you, if you've experienced answered prayers through St. Anthony's intercession, please like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Your simple action could be the way God uses you to touch another heart today. The theological implications of this apparition extend far beyond Anthony's personal transformation. When Mary appears to saints, she often brings specific messages for the entire church. In Anthony's case, she emphasized the power of gentle persistence in evangelization, the importance of meeting people where they are, and the miracle of divine love that can penetrate even the most hardened hearts. Catholic tradition tells us that Mary's words to Anthony included prophecies about his future impact on souls. She revealed that his preaching would convert thousands, that his writings would guide theologians for centuries, and that his intercession would bring countless people back to faith. But there's another dimension to this apparition that most people overlook. Mary also showed Anthony visions of the struggles the church would face in future centuries. She prepared him to be an intercessor, not just for his own time, but for believers who would live hundreds of years later. This is why St. Anthony's intercession feels so immediate and personal to people today, because Mary specifically commissioned him to help future generations. When you pray to St. Anthony, you're connecting with that moment of divine commissioning, that sacred appointment when Mary herself assigned him to assist you. This isn't just pious belief, it's the theological foundation of his ongoing ministry to the Church. Have you ever felt an immediate sense of peace when praying to St. Anthony? That's not coincidence, that's the fruit of his encounter with Mary, still active in our world today. Tell us in the comments about your experiences with St. Anthony's intercession. Your testimony could strengthen someone else's faith. The mystical elements of this apparition continue to influence how we understand saintly intercession. Anthony reported that during the vision, he experienced what theologians call infused knowledge, direct divine illumination that bypassed normal learning processes. This explains his later reputation for wisdom that amazed even the most educated people of his era. Mary's presence during the apparition also revealed the intimate connection between devotion to her and effective ministry. Anthony learned that those who honor the Mother of God receive special graces for serving others. This principle has been confirmed in the lives of countless saints who followed similar patterns of Marian devotion. The Christ Child's blessing of Anthony's prayer book represents something profound about how divine revelation works. It suggests that Scripture becomes more than just text when it's approached with the same humility and openness that Anthony demonstrated during the apparition. What comes next in Anthony's story will show you exactly how to apply these principles in your own life. After the apparition, Anthony's approach to ministry changed completely. Instead of relying on intellectual arguments alone, he began incorporating the gentle compassion he had witnessed in Mary. His sermons became conversations, his rebukes became invitations, his theological discussions became heart-to-heart encounters. People noticed the difference immediately. Where once Anthony had been respected for his learning, he was now beloved for his understanding. Hardened sinners found themselves drawn to his confessional. Scholars sought him out, not just for his knowledge, but for his wisdom about living faithfully. The transformation was so dramatic that other friars began asking Anthony what had changed. While he never publicly detailed the apparition, he would simply say that he had learned to see people as Mary sees them, as beloved children in need of gentle guidance rather than harsh correction. This shift in Anthony's ministry style became a model for effective evangelization that remains relevant today. When we approach others with the same maternal compassion that Mary showed to Anthony, we create space for hearts to open and lives to change. Don't forget to subscribe if you're finding value in this story. We have so many more incredible accounts of divine encounters that will strengthen your faith. And ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest content. The historical impact of Anthony's apparition extended far beyond his personal ministry. The theological insights he gained during that divine encounter influenced his later writings, which became standard texts in seminaries for centuries. His approach to scripture interpretation, shaped by the Christ Child's blessing of his prayer book, revolutionized how theologians understood the relationship between scholarship and spiritual insight. Catholic mystics throughout history have reported that Anthony's intercession carries special power precisely because of this foundational encounter with Mary. When we ask for his help, we're invoking not just his personal holiness, but the divine commission he received directly from the Mother of God. This explains why prayers to St. Anthony often receive such rapid and dramatic answers. He operates under a specific mandate from heaven, sealed during that sacred moment when Mary appeared to him with the Christ Child. But the most powerful aspect of this apparition might surprise you. The lasting gift of Anthony's encounter with Mary wasn't just his ability to help find lost objects or even lost souls. It was his demonstration that ordinary people can experience extraordinary divine visitations when they approach God with honest humility and genuine need. Anthony wasn't seeking a mystical experience when Mary appeared to him. He was simply struggling with real challenges in his ministry and turning to prayer for guidance. His openness to divine intervention created the conditions for heaven to break into his earthly circumstances. This offers hope for every believer watching this video. The same Mary who appeared to Anthony continues to care for those who serve her Son. The same Christ child who blessed Anthony's ministry continues to work through ordinary people who make themselves available for divine purposes. Your circumstances might be different from Anthony's, but your access to heaven's help remains the same. The apparition to Saint Anthony demonstrates that God delights in surprising his servants with exactly the encouragement and empowerment they need to fulfill their calling. As we conclude this remarkable account, consider how Anthony's experience speaks to your own relationship with God. Are there areas of your life where you feel inadequate or overwhelmed? Are there people you're trying to reach who seem resistant to faith? Are there situations that feel hopeless or lost beyond recovery? The Virgin Mary's apparition to St. Anthony teaches us that heaven is far more involved in our daily struggles than we often realize. Divine help is available not just for extraordinary circumstances, but for the ordinary challenges that test our faith and commitment. Take a moment right after this video ends to pray to St. Anthony and ask for his intercession in whatever situation you're facing. Remember that his power to help comes directly from that sacred moment when Mary herself commissioned him to assist believers throughout history. If this story has touched your heart, please like this video and share it with others who might need this encouragement. Your simple action could be the way God uses St. Anthony's intercession to reach someone who desperately needs hope today. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories of divine encounters that continue to shape our faith. Leave a comment about your own experiences with St. Anthony's help. Your testimony could be exactly what another viewer needs to hear. The apparition of the Virgin Mary to St. Anthony of Padua reminds us that heaven is never as far away as it seems, that help is always available to those who seek it humbly, and that the saints remain active participants in our spiritual lives. Through Anthony's intercession, rooted in his encounter with Mary, we continue to experience the loving care of our Heavenly Mother and the boundless mercy of her Son. May St. Anthony's example inspire you to approach your own challenges with the same trust and openness that welcomed heaven into his simple cell on that extraordinary morning in 13th century Italy. And may Mary's maternal care, demonstrated so beautifully in her apparition to Anthony, bring you the same peace, clarity, and empowerment that transformed a struggling friar into one of history's most beloved saints.